All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have had a fantastic weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed Tokyo Game Show. If there was anything you missed, I'm going to try and cover it here. So I'm going to be showing you the actual gameplay from Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, which I think looks absolutely phenomenal. The screenshots really did not do this game justice, in my opinion. I did like the look of the art style, but it looks even better. The graphical style in this game just looks so damn good to me. Not only the character models, but the monster models look so freaking good in this game. So as you can see, we are on our way to Aeolus Vale, which is closer to the end of the game. Now, I don't remember this because it's been a long time since I've played Dragon Quest VII. Like, the last time I played through it was when it came out on the 3DS, the remake there. And I'm told that Maribel is not supposed to be in the party at this point, so maybe you get her back sooner than you used to. Maybe she never leaves. I'm not too sure. I do remember like her dad getting sick or something like that, and she's out of the party for a while. Of course, there is a bit of the spoiler character, but she's not so much a spoiler character as long as we don't know who she is, so we will leave it at that. I wanted to show you this gameplay because this was in the middle of it was like an hour and a half Dragon Quest VII Tokyo Game Show stream that happened at like 10 at night until like almost midnight. So I'm glad that I was able to get my hands on this. I hope you guys are as well. And I also want to talk about the differences between the original Dragon Quest VII and the reimagined version of Dragon Quest VII. So Yuji Horii has went on record to tell us what content has been cut, what has been changed, what has been added, and I really want to go through that with you guys here as well. So if you enjoy Dragon Quest content, if you enjoy top 10 videos, reviews, and podcasts, please remember to like, subscribe, turn notifications to all so you don't miss the next video. If you're on mobile, also please hype the video. It helps out so much. I appreciate the heck out of it. Now let's get into the details of what is the cut content. Alright, so Yuji Horii went on record to say that 3 different regions have been removed. Grondle, El Ciclo, and Providence. So Providence was one of the rumored places to have been removed. I talked about it in a previous video. Providence to me is not the biggest deal if that one is taken out. I kind of mentioned that in my previous video as well. It's just the story does connect to another story, but it's not that significant, so I can totally understand why Providence was cut. Grondle, on the other hand, is definitely a memorable location to me. I'm going to miss this for sure. It's not one of the best stories by any means in Dragon Quest VII, but it is one of the memorable ones. Like, there's a lot of stories in Dragon Quest VII, some of which I forgot most of the details of. One of those is Aeolus Vale, to be completely honest, the one that they're playing through in the gameplay here. I do remember like bits and pieces of it, but until I saw this gameplay, I completely forgotten about Aeolus Vale and the story there, and even right now I forget kind of what the story is here. So, but when it comes to Grondle, I actually do remember kind of what the story is. I remember I guess I might as well tell you, if it's not in the game, it's not a spoiler. Basically, Yggdrasil's roots are in Grondle, and there's like an elf there that's supposed to protect the roots of Yggdrasil, and the elf, from what I remember, tells people that they'll get like sick or something if they drink from the water that are at the roots of Yggdrasil, or the Ig tree, or whatever they want to call it in that game. That ends up getting twisted by a kind of villain that ends up poisoning kind of the well or the water that's supposed to be the best tasting water in the land, of course, because it comes from the roots of Yggdrasil. And it makes anyone who drinks the water think that they are the demon lord. And I just remember like the village of like all the people like walking around with like these hooded cloaks. It's a really good story because the cast of characters thinks there's like this cult going on at night, and they're trying to get to the bottom of what's actually going on here. But it turns out these people think they're the demon lord. They're not the demon lord at all. But because they've been drinking from this water that's been kind of like poisoned, that's kind of the effect that happens on them. So yeah, it's a very memorable, like, I just remember the image of the people walking around in like the cloaks and all that. So to me it's a very memorable story that I kind of wish they hadn't taken out. But at the same time, if they're going to take a story out, This one does not really have much to do with the main story, and that's kind of what Yuji Horii said he was going to do. He said they were going to be taking out some of the stories that really have nothing to do with the main plotline. Now, I do want to comment on the gameplay footage yet again here. This combat system looks so freaking good. The graphic design here just looks absolutely crisp. The presentation is spot on and incredibly sleek. I absolutely love it. For those people who are constantly complaining that you can't see the characters in combat, this should be right up your alley. Everything just looks so sleek, so smooth, so fancy, and I love it. Back to the cut content. So the last place I wanted to mention that Yuji Horii brought up was El Ciclo. So El Ciclo is, if you've ever seen the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, or as David Vink always says, Billy Crystal. Oh man, I love when he does that. I don't know if he does it intentionally, but I absolutely love it. Check out David Vink JRPGs, by the way, if you don't watch his channel. He's my favorite JRPG YouTuber. But yeah, Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, where he's constantly wakes up every morning and the same events happen every day. That is what El Ciclo is about. There's supposed to be a bridge being built by this great architect. Every night they say it's like going to be completed the next day. You wake up the next day, the bridge is going to be completed tomorrow. There's also a girl who is sick, and you help her recover, if I remember correctly, and then every morning she's sick again, and you have to break this cycle. This story definitely kind of drags. Not only that, but it also has what I called like the fashion show, the fashion contest, the fashion show. I don't know what the heck it's called. Basically, it's based on your style, whatever your style rating is. You could win like this fashion show or this fashion contest, and I did not like that whatsoever. I also found this village to be kind of tedious and kind of drag on. Not one of my favorite stories. Definitely a memorable one, but not for the right reasons necessarily. So again, El Ciclo, not the biggest loss here. I do know that the only real significant thing that does happen here is this is where you get your hands on the Sands of Time. So maybe they're going to work the Sands of Time in somewhere else. Speaking of somewhere else, I did want to mention they are actually adding stories to the game as well. So they're adding an additional scenario covering the childhood of the hero and Maribel. So that is one of potentially many other scenarios that they're going to be adding. I do feel like these are going to add a lot to the game, a lot to the character development, because as much as Dragon Quest to me is about the characters, and Dragon Quest VII is one of my favorite Dragon Quest games of all time, Dragon Quest VII was kind of one of the weaker games in the series in terms of characters. Like, I liked Kiefer and I liked Gabo or Ruff, but overall, I was not that into and involved with the characters as much as I was in other Dragon Quest games. So I'm super excited to get more background on these characters. I think that's a great massive addition to the game, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what they do with that. I'm also wondering how much of these new scenarios is going to be spent kind of streamlining and explaining the stories of some of these missing villages and missing content. Maybe the villages will still exist there, but when you pull into town, you'll just kind of get like a scenario of that town's history instead of having to go and like play through it all. I think as much as it would suck that we'd miss out on some of the gameplay regarding these stories, it would be nice to still get the stories themselves. So maybe some of these added scenarios are going to streamline these stories. And I do believe that was hinted at by Yuji Horii in an interview quite early on. So we'll have to wait and see there. I do remember them saying that they did cut out the fashion show thing. Let's talk about that here a little bit. So the side content that has been confirmed to be cut is the casino, the Haven, which I believe was the immigrant town, which really sucks. That really sucks, to be completely honest. Monster Meadows, which I did not like at all. I didn't see a point to it, to be completely honest. I didn't utilize it very much. The casino, it sucks that the casino is going to be missing, but I will say that they are doing the lucky panel minigame. I think they're just moving it into the new arena I think it's called the arena. They've added a bunch of extra stuff in the arena. To be completely honest, Lucky Panels was the only thing I played in the casino in Dragon Quest VII, even on the PS1 version. So I'm glad that that's here. I definitely, like I mentioned in previous videos, cheesed the heck out of it to get all the prizes like almost immediately, but I did enjoy playing Lucky Panel. Anyone who's played like Super Mario Brothers 3, Lucky Panel is basically that one where you like flip the cards over. It's like the memory game. Well, if you've got like a cell phone and you just take pictures of the screen once you flip them over, you'll kind of slowly be able to figure it out. It's pretty easy to cheese. Now to talk about the things that they have added or changed. So there are optional stories accessible via the new mysterious fragment system. So some of this cut content they have mentioned may still be in the game as side quests, and I would love that, honestly. Since there's a lot of these stories in Dragon Quest VII that don't completely tie into the main story. There's a lot. I would say the vast majority of the stories don't tie in the main story. But there are some that are kind of not the greatest, not the most memorable, and involve a lot of like backtracking, don't add a lot to the experience, I would say. Those few that are like that, I can almost guarantee are going to be in the game as side content. And I appreciate that. I think this is a great way to slim down on the overall game time for people who are just wanting to play through the game, experience the story, get to know the characters, and just know what Dragon Quest VII is all about. For those of us who want the entire picture, it looks like we have that option for the most part, and that is in the side content. So I'm really glad that they're doing this. This is probably the best way to do it, because then you're not forced to do some of these more tedious and menial stories if you don't want to. They haven't said what stories are going to be part of the optional mysterious fragment stories, but they have said that some of the cut content or trimmed down content will be available in there. I do again want to compliment the interface in Dragon Quest VII Remake. And then the other changes are pretty basic changes. They call it symbol encounter system replaces random battles. Basically, there's on-screen monster encounters, and you can actually slash the monsters, attack the monsters on the map in order to damage them. If you're super over-leveled for that area, you could just defeat them and not have to worry about a ton of extra battles. Man, despite all this talk about cut content, I do want to spotlight all the different job classes that we are going to have available. You can see right here, you've got like your martial artist, your warrior. All the characters kind of have their own class that they start as now as well, that it appears to be character specific. And then of course you got the moonlighting system where you can have 2 vocations equipped at the same time. I just kind of wanted to focus your attention on the amount of job classes that were kind of showing up there. There's a lot of ones that are kind of locked still, but it is important to me that there are a ton of vocations in this game, and it really looks like there is. Now, they've mentioned a variety of difficulty adjustment. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined is going to have 3 difficulties. There's going to be easy, normal, and hard. So I'm assuming it's going to be similar to the Dragon Quest III HD2D remake, where there's like a Draki mode, a Dragon Quest mode, and then a Draconian Quest mode, and that's probably going to be the 3 difficulties. We'll get back to adjustments in difficulty in a moment. I just wanted to point out that it looks like the Monster Hearts are indeed still in the game, but are instead in there as accessories. So I don't know if they're going to like boost stats or have special abilities once you have them equipped, but there's definitely a secondary accessory slot similar to in Dragon Quest III HD2D remake, and you can equip your Monster Hearts in that secondary accessory slot. Is that going to just give you stat increases? Is it going to be like buffs? Is it going to be like actual in-battle abilities that you can now use when you have that Monster Heart? We'll have to wait and see as far as that goes. Now, to finish off talking about kind of the difficulty toggling, they did say they're going to have extra adjustable combat options, including enemy aggression and toughness. So if you want to play on normal, but you still want the monsters to be a little bit tougher or to chase you a little bit quicker, you're going to have the opportunity to change that setting, which is pretty nice. It allows you to customize your experience a little bit more to your own personal preferences. As you can see in this gameplay, in this boss fight battle, It's going to show you if an enemy is weak against something just by highlighting that ability, which is pretty damn cool. That's going to speed up the learning process in terms of like what enemies are weak against what attacks and all that, which helps out immensely. I know when my best friend DG played through Dragon Quest III HD2D Remake for the first time, he definitely struggled in the fact that you have to try all the spells and abilities to find out what each enemy is kind of weak against before you can kind of figure that out, and then you can kind of whoop some ass. Making even the random encounters take a bit longer the first time you encounter a new monster. So this way, it looks like you're going to be able to highlight an ability, and it's going to tell you, hey, this is super effective. This is something the enemy's strong against. It's going to help you figure that out right away instead of having to kind of like mess around and try all the different abilities to see what works and what doesn't work. So that's kind of nice. And I know people have been complaining that you don't have the job class costumes in this game. I honestly didn't really like them all that much in the 3DS game because you never really got to see the characters how they were supposed to look. And I do love, however, that you do get to see the weapons and armor on the characters in battle. So that is pretty cool. I'm really glad that that's a feature in Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. I didn't want to put the original audio in this because it's just a lot of Japanese talking, and I wanted to get all this news across while showing you some brand new actual gameplay. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at this game in motion. I hope it looks as incredible to you as it does to me, especially the monster designs, man. They look so damn good. I really honestly hope that Dragon Quest IV gets a remake in this style as opposed to HD2D Remake. I honestly, now that I've seen this in motion, I'm really hoping Dragon Quest IV, one of my favorite games of all time, I really hope that we get it in this reimagined style over the HD2D. I'll be happy with either, don't get me wrong, but I really like this reimagined look. This diorama-inspired look. Let me know in the comments, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the Dragon Quest HD2D remake look or this Dragon Quest reimagined look with the diorama style? What games would you like to see remade in which style and why? Is it going to be nice to not have to do the stories that you didn't like before? Or do you think it's going to help more people enjoy this game, enjoy the experience that is Dragon Quest VII, if they make some of the more tedious stories kind of side content? What do you think of learning the backstory of some of these characters that we know and loved all these years? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe, turn notifications to all so you don't miss the next video, and I will see you guys in the next one.